There is a world that does not breathe, a place sealed not by walls, but by canvas. Snow drifts through the air like memory. The wind carries no sound. The sky above is pale, as if even the heavens have forgotten to exist. This is the painted world of Ariamis, a quiet realm born from exile, woven by hands that wish to hide what could not be destroyed. Here, time does not move. Seasons do not change. The flame never touched this place, and so it was spared the endless cycle of birth and decay. The gods made it as a prison, a sanctuary for the unwanted. Those who carried forbidden blood, those who bore the mark of sorrow, were cast into the painting, and the world above forgot their names. But within that stillness, something beautiful endured. A figure stands alone among the falling snow, tall, graceful, her hair pale as frost, her eyes like two quiet moons. She is Priscilla, the Crossbreed, a child of both flame and scale, a soul born of contradiction. She is neither god nor dragon, neither mortal nor beast, and for this she was hidden away. Yet she does not weep, she does not rage. She simply waits, a gentle presence within the cold, a whisper of life in a world that has chosen silence. In the painted world, there is no fire, no death, no need for gods or heroes, only snow and peace and the soft, endless forgetting that feels almost like mercy. Long ago, before the flame began to fade, there was born a soul that should not have been, a child of two worlds, one of fire, one of stone. Her mother was a god, of radiant blood and divine grace. Her father a dragon, a being older than light itself, untouched by the gift of death. From that impossible union came Priscilla, a living secret. The gods looked upon her and trembled, for in her veins flowed both eternity and ending, the immortal and the mortal, the flame and the shadow. She was not meant to exist. Her very breath was a question the world did not wish to answer. And so they hid her. They whispered her name only in fear, burying her beneath their shame, as if silence could unmake what was already real. Gwyn, Lord of Sunlight, who burned dragons to ash and ruled the sky with lightning, looked upon this child and saw a wound in his creation. To him, she was neither gift nor curse. She was proof that the line between God and beast was thinner than he dared admit. So he sealed her away, not in chains, but in art. The painter Ariamis, touched by divine command, took her likeness and sorrow and gave her a world of her own, a realm of snow and stillness, a dream where she could be both forgotten and safe. There, beyond the touch of fire, she would live unseen, a secret wrapped in white. The gods told themselves they had preserved the order of the world, but in truth, they had only preserved their pride. For Priscilla was not a monster. She was their reflection, a mirror of all they feared. That light and dark, life and death, god and dragon, were never meant to stand apart. And while the world turned above, Priscilla slept beneath the canvas, her heart slow and calm, her soul at peace with the sin of her own being. Within the painted world, time does not flow. It drifts, softly, endlessly, like snow falling without sound. And in that stillness lives Priscilla, a soul untouched by anger, a creature of sorrow who never learned to hate. She walks among the white fields barefoot, the frost bending gently beneath her feet. The wind moves through her hair, and the world itself seems to bow to her quiet. There is no throne here, no crown, no worship, only silence and the faint pulse of her being. Though she was cast out by gods, she carries no bitterness toward them. Though she was called abomination, she never believed herself cursed. For in her solitude, she found something purer than forgiveness, understanding. She knows the cruelty of fire, the hunger of men, the fear of gods. She knows the endless noise of the world beyond the snow, and she wants no part of it. Priscilla does not dream of return. She does not wish for vengeance. She wishes only for stillness, for a place where nothing must be fought for, and nothing must be lost. Around her, other forgotten souls linger. Hollowed warriors, failed creations, fragments of lives that once had meaning. She welcomes them with the same gentleness, speaking in the language of silence. In her presence, even pain grows weary, even sorrow rests. Her eyes, pale and distant, hold neither judgment nor pity. They hold peace. She is a child of two worlds, and yet she belongs to none. And perhaps that is why she has found what no god, no man, no dragon ever could. Freedom. Not the freedom of flame, nor the defiance of shadow, but the freedom of letting go. In the painted world, there is no victory, no defeat, no fear. Only the quiet breath of a soul that asks for nothing. As the centuries passed in stillness, Priscilla learned the gentlest form of survival, to become unseen. The snow taught her how to fall without sound, how to vanish without death, how to cover the wounds of the world until they forgot they were ever there. And so she learned to fade, to let her form dissolve like mist in winter light, not to hide from fear, but to spare others from it. For she knew what her blood could do, the soul of a god, the immortality of a dragon, a union so powerful it could unmake the balance itself. To wield that power would mean to wound the world again. And she had no desire to harm, so she chose to be small, to disappear into the silence, to let her existence pass like a secret. Her invisibility was not a weapon, but a mercy, a kindness to the world that had cast her out. When wanderers found their way into her white domain, they saw only the storm, the wind, the snow, the faint echo of something watching. Not cruel, not hungry, only cautious. Those who carried hatred found their rage swallowed by the quiet. Those who sought her power found only endless whiteness, until even their thoughts faded into peace. For Priscilla did not fight to live. She lived to let the world rest. In the art of vanishing, she discovered the truest form of strength, to exist without demanding to be seen. And so she remained, unseen, unheard, untouched, a breath of mercy in a painted eternity. The gods had given her exile, but she had turned it into grace. One day, after ages of unbroken snow, a sound came to the painted world. It was faint, like a heartbeat returning to a body that had long forgotten how to feel. Footsteps, heavy, certain, out of place. A stranger had entered the canvas, an intruder from the world that had forsaken her, a wanderer drawn by curiosity or fate, or perhaps by the quiet pull of her forgotten name. Priscilla watched them from afar, her pale eyes calm, her breath slower than the wind. She did not hate them, she pitied them. The world beyond the painting was burning, devouring itself in the hunger of flame and curse. And here stood this wanderer, seeking answers in a world that had none left to give. She stepped from the snow, softly, gracefully, her voice as still as falling frost. "Leave this place," she said, not as warning, but as mercy. "For this world is peaceful, and peace is not meant for the living. But mortals, as ever, could not leave untouched what was meant to rest." The wanderer moved closer, their presence stirring the quiet air, their weapon gleaming in the white. Priscilla raised her scythe, a blade curved like the crescent moon, forged not for conquest, but for separation. It did not seek to kill, it sought to part, to divide the living from the stillness of the dead. Her movements were sorrowful, each swing a plea for solitude, each step a prayer that the intruder might turn away. But they did not, and when the battle ended, The snow fell again. The footprints vanished. The silence returned. No one knows if Priscilla survived that day, or if she simply faded into her own world's forgetting. Perhaps she chose to disappear completely, to save even the memory of her sorrow from being seen. For she was never meant to be found. She was the dream that closes its own eyes, the kindness that asks not to be remembered. And when the canvas was left behind, only the snow remained, falling, endless, unbroken. Outside the painting, the world kept burning. Kingdoms rose and fell, the fire dimmed and flared again, and the names of gods were whispered into dust. But within the painted world, nothing changed. The snow still fell. The wind still sighed softly through the empty towers. And Priscilla remained, untouched, unseen, the quiet center of a world that no longer remembered her. The gods who had feared her were long gone. The mortals who once worshipped them had forgotten even their faces. Yet still she stood, among the frost and the white, watching a sky that never moved. Her hair flowed like threads of silver light. Her eyes shimmered with distant kindness. And though her breath was slow as eternity, she was not lifeless. She was at peace. No flame would ever reach this place. No curse would ever cross the canvas. Time itself refused to enter, and in that stillness, Priscilla became something more than exile. She became memory without pain, the proof that forgetting can be mercy. Her world was not a prison. It was a choice, the one place left untouched by the endless struggle of light and dark. A refuge for all things the world deemed unworthy, for all that had no place in the cycle. Some say the snow itself remembers her sorrow, that each flake is a fragment of her gentleness, falling across the empty halls like soft forgiveness. Others say she still walks among them, invisible, eternal, watching over the lost who stumble into the painting, offering them the same kindness, the chance to disappear. For to be forgotten, in her world, is not punishment. It is peace. And so she endures, not as goddess or monster, but as silence made whole. The world forgot her name, but she has no need for it anymore. The gods feared her power, but Priscilla never used it. They called her dangerous, but she harmed no one. They banished her, and she blessed her own solitude. In the painted world, she found what none of them ever could. Not eternity, not glory, but peace. She does not dream of fire. She does not fear the dark. She lives where neither can reach. A soul untouched by the cycle, beyond the grasp of both gods and men. Her scythe rests in the snow, its blade dull with frost. The white drifts rise and fall around her form, until even her outline begins to fade. She has no throne, no followers, no shrine. Her only temple is silence, and her only prayer is stillness. In her absence, the world continues to devour itself. Fire rekindled, darkness reborn, again and again. But she will never return to it. She has chosen the mercy of forgetting, to fade not in defeat, but in acceptance. To live not in glory, but in quiet grace. She is the gentlest ending, the snow that falls over the ashes of all things, the hush that follows after fire, the whisper of a soul that no longer needs to be seen. And when the last flame dies, and the gods' names are lost to dust, she will still be there, a pale shadow in a world of white, watching over the silence she has become. She is not waiting to be found. She is waiting to be forgotten. And in that final act of erasure, Priscilla is free. The snow continues to fall, soft, endless, eternal. And so the fire dimmed once more.